honors and acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional lands of Sawridge First Nation within Treaty 8 territory, home to Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have occupied these lands since time immemorial. Councillor Gramlich?
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add MPC to committee updates and remove the library.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Call to question those in favor, and that is carried. Councillor Choba.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the amended agenda as presented.
Okay, motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Call to question those in favor, and that is carried. Okay, first up, we'll move into our offsite levy policy for reports and new business. Joanna, floor is yours.
Good evening, your worship and members of council. The purpose of this report is for council to review and give approval to the revised Town of Slave Lake offsite levy policy. On March 12th, 2024, at the committee of the whole meeting of council, administration had brought forward several policies for approval as part of the updating process. At the committee of the whole meeting, council had tasked administration to bring back the offsite levy policy with clarifications on section 3.1.3 and 4.2.2 regarding redeveloped lands and collection of payment on redeveloped lands. On March 19th, 2024, the offsite levy policy was brought back for verbal clarification with the Director of Planning and Development of the day. The Town of Slave Lake introduced its offsite levy policy in 2016, following an extensive period of review and consultation. This work was part of the town's broader recovery strategy after the devastating 2011 wildfire, which destroyed a significant portion of the community. Recognizing the need to encourage redevelopment and support community resilience, council at that time chose to exempt redeveloped lands from offsite levy charges, even if a levy had not been paid previously. The intent was to remove financial barriers for residents and businesses looking to rebuild. Under the current policy, the town assumes offsite levies are paid or not due on land that is being redeveloped, and we do not collect payment regardless of the type of development being applied for on redeveloped lands. Over the years, as the community has shifted from recovery to growth, the policy has to ensure it remains clear, fair, and aligned with modern development pressures. And the revised policy is being presented to help administration apply the policy in such a way. So the town's current offsite levy policy includes the definition of redeveloped lands shall mean within the boundaries of the Town of Slave Lake, shall mean land within the boundaries of the Town of Slave Lake which has been developed upon. But the definition is broad, and it has been suggested that this could lead to inconsistencies in how it is interpreted and applied. As written, the policy suggests that any parcel of land that has previously been developed is automatically exempt from offsite levies, regardless of the nature of the new development or the context of the site. This could make it difficult for administration to apply the policy fairly and consistently across applications. To resolve this, one of the key changes being proposed is to clarify that what qualifies as redeveloped land. The revised policy defines developed lands as lands that have previously been developed or had a development permit issued for them and are being reused for development without subdivision. If those conditions are met, an offsite levy would not be imposed. This clarification aligns with the original intention of the council in 2016, which was to support redevelopment, particularly in areas of the town impacted by the 2011 wildfire, without creating additional financial barriers. In connection with this, the proposed amendment will also help establish the exemption for the 2011 wildfire recovery lots, as they will be considered redeveloped lands. In the years following the wildfire, council made a conscious decision not to apply offsite levies to properties within the affected area to encourage rebuilding and support residents and businesses. Alongside this change, it is also important to address who holds responsibility for proving whether an offsite levy has already been paid. It should be noted that the burden of proof regarding whether an offsite levy has been previously paid rests with the landowner or developer, not with the municipality. This approach aligns with standard administrative law principles, which place the onus on the party asserting a claim, particularly when requesting exemption from financial obligation. While Section 648 of the Municipal Government Act stipulates that offsite levies may only be collected once per applicable infrastructure type, it does not require the municipality to assume or verify prior payment in the absence of evidence. Instead, it is common and reasonable practice across Alberta municipalities to require applicants to provide documentation such as development agreements, payment receipts, or subdivision approval conditions to confirm a levy payment. This requirement is especially important in Slave Lake due to the 2011 wildfire, which destroyed a significant portion of both municipal and private development records. These gaps mean the past levy payments are not always verifiable through the town's own records. As such, requesting proof of payment from the applicant helps ensure compliance with the MGA while maintaining fairness in how levies are applied. So to illustrate how this update would be applied in practice, the following examples use a typical development scenario involving a 3-acre parcel of land. So scenario 1, there's no offsite levy paid on the original parcel, and the landowner owns a 3-acre parcel with an existing house occupying approximately 1 acre and applies to subdivide the land into 3 1-acre lots. If the applicant cannot provide documentation showing that offsite levies were previously paid on the full 3 acres, the town may apply an offsite levy to the 2 newly created vacant lots. The developed acre with the existing house may be exempt as previously developed lands, but the 2 vacant parcels are considered vacant, undeveloped land, and subdivision is a recognized trigger for levy collection under the MGA. In this case, levies are applied to ensure fair contribution to infrastructure by the new lots. Scenario 2, offsite levy previously paid on the full parcel. A landowner owns the same 3-acre parcel and again applies to subdivide into these 3 1-acre lots. This time they provide proof that levies were paid in full on all 3 acres, such as a registered development agreement or payment record. In this case, no further offsite levies would be charged as the MGA permits levies to be collected only once per infrastructure type. All 3 lots, including the newly subdivided parcels, may proceed without further levy assessment. These proposed changes aim to make the policy clearer, more consistent, and easier to administer while maintaining the town's commitment to supporting recovery and redevelopment. By improving clarity around exemptions, formalizing longstanding practices, and setting clear expectations for applicants. The updated policy provides a stronger framework for managing growth and infrastructure needs. Addressing intensity or use of use or increased density on redeveloped lands. As part of the 2024 review of the offsite levy policy, administration considered how to address cases where redeveloped lands are being developed at significantly higher intensity or density than before, and how to ensure the town can recover associated infrastructure costs. While the MGA allows offsite levies to be calculated based on intensity or of use or density for new development, legal counsel has confirmed that a supplemental offsite levy cannot be applied to infrastructure that has already been paid for under a previous offsite levy, such as water and sewer systems. This means the town cannot charge an additional levy on redeveloped land if the original offsite levy has already been paid for that infrastructure type. However, where a proposed redevelopment places a greater load on existing infrastructure and that infrastructure requires upgrading or expansion to accommodate the new intensity of use, the town may still recover costs through an offsite, not through an offsite levy, but rather through a development agreement under Section 650 of the MGA. This is a valid and commonly used tool to ensure that developers contribute directly to upgrades made necessary by their specific project. In another scenario, offsite levies were previously paid on the 3-acre parcel, and a landowner now applies to build a 20-unit apartment building on one of the newly subdivided 1-acre lots. While this represents a significant increase in land use intensity and infrastructure demand, the town cannot apply a new offsite levy under the current policy and bylaw framework because the original levy was already collected. Recognizing the infrastructure demand could increase, for example, if the water line serving the area is already at 90% capacity and engineering confirms that the redevelopment would push this over capacity, the town can require the developer, as a condition of a development permit or subdivision, to upgrade the water line or contribute to the cost of doing so. These terms would be secured through a development agreement, ensuring that infrastructure burden caused by redevelopment is not carried by the municipality or other ratepayers. This approach ensures fairness and legal compliance. It allows the town to continue supporting redevelopment while maintaining the integrity and capacity of essential municipal services. So administration recommends that council accept the offsite levy policy as presented. Updating the policy now to clarify the definition of redeveloped lands is a necessary and immediate step. It ensures the town can apply the current policy consistently and fairly in situations such as scenario 1, where development occurs on previously developed land, but no off-site levies have been paid or proven. This clarification provides certainty for applicants and strengthens administrative consistency. During the policy review, administration also examined how the town might respond to redevelopment that introduces significantly more density or intensity than what was originally contemplated with levies paid. Legal counsel has since confirmed that the town cannot apply supplemental offsite levies to infrastructure that has already been paid for, such as water and sewer systems, even if redevelopment increases demand. However, where redevelopment causes the need for infrastructure upgrades, such as upsizing a water main due to increased flow demands, the town can recover those costs through development agreements, which remain a valid and enforceable tool under Section 650 of the MGA. Accepting the revised policy today allows the town to proceed with clarity, consistency for existing development scenarios, while also recognizing that any future cost recovery for intensified redevelopment must be managed through conditions of development approval and corresponding infrastructure agreements. This approach ensures fairness for both the municipality and developers and aligns with legislative authority, protecting the infrastructure investment while continuing to support responsible growth. Do we have any questions?
Counselor Adams?
I appreciate the effort that went into this. It did clear off a bunch of the issues and questions we had from the last time. And looking at it, it did align a lot better with the MGA and with what we're expecting, or what the intent was. So I appreciate the effort in that. Other than that, I couldn't even find the slightest issue with it, to be honest. So I'm quite happy with it myself.
Okay.
I think you should write that down, Pearl.
Right? I tried.
Thank you.
It's one of my last ones. I'm moving for it. But in that same breath, I'd like to move that council accept the revised offsite levy policy PD.PLN-25.10110 as presented.
There's a motion on the floor and there's further discussion. Counselor Gramlich?
I just wanted to comment. Oh, I did.
Hold on, I hit
She's got to click me in.
the wrong button. Apologies.
May I speak now?
You may speak now.
Wanted to comment, it took Councilor Adams 4 years in his last meeting to not find an issue with something. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Joanna. Well done. That was beautiful. Any further discussion on that? As I see none, I'll call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Well done. The first perfect report per Counselor Adams.
Thank you. Yeah.
And next up, we have our summer ice report. Joe, if you want to take the floor.
Here we go.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm not fully sure how I'm going to follow that, but so I'm presenting the purpose of the report is to provide an update to Mayor and Council of the 2025 Summer Ice Program at the MRC. Operating an ice arena through the summer season presents a range of financial, technical, and operational challenges that extend far beyond those experienced during the traditional winter months. Municipalities such as the town of Slave Lake must weigh the costs of continuous ice maintenance against potential revenues from user rentals, while also accounting for increased infrastructure strain, our staffing requirements, and long-term capital impacts. The 2025 summer ice schedule saw Secure Energy Arena 1 be in operation throughout the summer without break, with the exception of the 2-week period late July with the new installation of the arena ice surface flooring that was approved by council. With the midsummer closure of both rinks for the new ice surface install, Summer Splash was held in the curling rink, which proved to be a good venue for the program this year. Please note Arena 2 would not normally have ice until late August, early September, but the hours that Arena 2 was open after the new flooring was put in is included in the stats that were attached. There was a 6.1% increase this year over 2024 summer ice bookings. The 2025 summer ice season saw a noted increase in spring hockey bookings over 2024, with a 70% increase from 2024 for the number of hours booked for April and May. Excuse me. However, Secure Energy Arena 1 utilization rate overall was 32.8%, of available ice time to the public, with most rentals being midweek evening rentals, particularly on Tuesday and Wednesday are popular nights. Staff noted a minimal number of bookings during the day and on weekends when the rink largely sat empty and unused. So I provided some areas of consideration for council moving forward. The first being utilities and energy consumption. Energy consumption is the most substantial and variable cost driver in summer ice operations. The refrigeration plant, consisting of compressors, condensers, and brine pumps, must run nearly continuously to offset external heat loads and sustain a consistent ice temperature. During warm and humid weather, refrigeration systems operate obviously far less efficiently, an estimated $40,000 increase over non-operational seasons. The compressor is in operation each time a flood is done between rental sessions. HVAC systems must also operate in cooling mode to maintain air temperatures low enough to prevent the ice melt and structural condensation. This dual demand of refrigeration and cooling places a heavier load on the electrical grid. 2, staffing and labor cost. Operating during the summer months significantly impacts staffing and personnel costs. Normally, arena staff, such as operators and maintenance personnel, switch solely to parks operations, allowing greater time for training, vacations, deferred maintenance, and opportunity to improve morale. Keeping ice in during summer eliminates these downtime opportunities and necessitates near full staffing levels throughout the summer. Excuse me. The reduced staff as well as reduced staff time in parks. Though no immediate impacts this year, should we continue with this program, the staff time between the rinks and parks will likely lead to reduced maintenance and time for projects in parks that we're considering. Third point, maintenance and equipment wear. Continuous year-round use places substantial stress on arena refrigeration and mechanical systems. Compressors, pumps, and condensers are designed for seasonal cycles, traditionally with downtime periods that allow for rest, inspection, and servicing. When these systems operate without interruption, wear accumulates faster, leading to reduced equipment lifespan with a higher probability of mechanical failure. For instance, in doing due diligence, a compressor expected to last 25 years under seasonal use may require replacements after only 15 to 18 years of continuous operation. And the fourth point of the report is capital planning and lifestyle impacts. To build off that, the decision to maintain summer ice also has long-term implications for capital planning. Continuous operation accelerates mechanical depreciation, advancing the timeline for costly replacements of compressors, condenser, and plant controls. A refrigeration plant that might otherwise, as mentioned, last 25 years has a much more reduced life cycle under continuous operation. Additionally, by removing traditional shutdown windows, municipalities like the town lose opportunities to complete energy efficiency retrofits, upgrades, and potential overhauls. As learned when we had our shutdown based due to the electrical failure last year, that was the first time we'd had the opportunity to do some of the maintenance in seating and other areas in a number of seasons. Over time, these factors compound and can create a sustainable financial burden that outweighs short-term operational benefits as a consideration. And in conclusion, in assessing the financial and operational feasibility of summer ice operations, community services staff could only find a handful of rinks in Alberta open during the summer, and all reported a lack and substantial cost recovery. Excuse me. For most municipalities, maintaining summer ice operations is financially sustainable when utilization rates consistently reach 70 to 80% or higher. In 2025, as mentioned, our arena achieved a utilization rate of 32.8. While below the target range, this reflects some progress as staff have worked diligently to enhance scheduling and expand user participation throughout the spring and summer months. These efforts have built a stronger foundation for future growth and improved utilization in upcoming seasons. Thank you.
Anyone want to go? Okay, thank you. Councillor Adams.
All right. Yeah, I'll talk more in this one. From what I understand here with when we first started doing this to now, we've actually seen about a 27% increase in usage over that period of time. With that increase, how long do we anticipate this growth rate to continue? Because I know we can't just start something, expect it to work. You're putting out a lot in there saying more wear and tear on the capital equipment, which I get. There's also less stress on the capital equipment because it has continuous running as opposed to hot cold cycles, which is what causes the problems or more problems. But whatever we want to say there, this usage increase, if we can keep that climbing, I think it's worth doing. You're saying with hours available, you've got us sitting at a utilization rate of, I think you said 38%,
32.8%.
32.8%. So how many hours are we available in a day?
We were basing that off 8 to 10 hours a day
So
for availability. We have availability in staff there. We have availability for rentals for, I believe we worked off 10 hours a day.
Okay. Anybody else on the queue? Not yet.
Would-
Hey, all right, I'm
would
gonna have to
you-
do math as we go here.
8 hours a day, weekdays, 6.5 hour days on weekends.
Okay, that's saying that we're available every single day throughout the summer then, because that should calculate out to about 124 days.
The
125
math is in the attachment, yes. So if I may, we've grown and we are at 32.8%. Do I see us reaching 7% ever based on our current usage? No, I do not.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think we're available that many days in the summer. Would you not concur?
We're
I
not.
thought we had huge challenges around having actual available ice time when we want to have available ice time.
No,
We've
that's
had
only for the users that all want Tuesday and Wednesday nights, Councillor Adams. We are open. The ice is available and available to rent while we're open in the summer, from when we open in the morning to the evening. And we try and keep open and even extended hours in some cases to ensure that user groups got their requests made. What we found from our booking side was that most of our local organizations that have come up over the last 3 years to try and run summer programming all wanted the same evenings. And with little flexibility on their schedules to try and work with the other available ice times that we had and wanted to sell them and wanted them to use.
Yeah.
So that was a booking challenge that we saw and didn't help us to maximize our time. We did have a number of camps return the same as the last 2 years. I think we're getting close to hitting a ceiling of availability, one for those camp groups that come and use our daytime hours through the week, as well as to interest in our local programming.
Whatever we had for, with our extended hours, when we would, forgive my ignorance here, maybe someone else can chip in. When did we normally shut down the ice?
Counselor Jamlick,
Thing is nuts. I'm not gonna get used to this.
we'll just announce and then you.
It was always like the end of March or first week in April, whoever's done hockey last, kind of like if there's a team going to provincials or hosting provincials, they kind of just held the ice till the last team was done.
Usually April 1st with Rink 1 being opened, usually say mid-August or beginning of August, depending on bookings and camps, with Arena 2 being opened early September, mid-September.
So one of my main questions in here then is how many tournaments have we managed to book between that April 1st date to whenever we normally put in the ice? And out of that, what has been the economic impact on the town of Slave Lake?
Our tournaments end March 31st with the First Nations tournament. We don't have any tournaments per se through the summer. We had a couple of hockey camps that came for a week during the day. Treaty 8 ends end of March.
Because I thought we always shut down before the Treaty 8 tournament. The only reason we got it is because we went to summer ice that one.
No,
Yes.
it's not my understanding at all. We usually have the Treaty 8 tournament on the calendar and then our shutdown happens right afterwards.
Treaty 8 was March 27th to 30th this year.
Right. But prior to that, the first time we extended the ice was the reason we got the
We
Treaty
did
8
extend it,
tournament.
yeah.
Because we normally don't have ice for the Treaty 8 tournament.
Yep, you're right on that. Alex, do you want to weigh in?
Some of that might be before Joe's time with.
Yes, this is
Yeah.
definitely before Joe's time,
Yeah.
but that's why
It was one of the reasons they did come, yes. But
And another factor in that too will be based on the playoff schedules of our local teams as well in relation to Slave Lake Minor Hockey. So that's the other factor is that may create an extension of a week or two from what had been scheduled for closure times in the past.
Counselor.
Okay, on that, what is our, what did we see as a usage rate increase within our other facilities there?
I don't have that. I'm here to present Solar and Summer Ice. I don't.
Only the summer.
Unfortunately, I don't have that.
One to the other, if we're seeing a significant increase or growth within one and nothing in another. I don't know, I guess it's how long do we determine we want to actually put money after this? I get it's a significant amount of money, but when my challenge with this has always been the MRC runs at a significant deficit that we all seem to be okay with. But then when it comes to questioning a $40,000 increase, it's like, whoa, it's the end of the world. We're losing over 1.1, 1.2 million dollars a year. And for us to, I challenge us to say that adding $40,000 to that already horrendous number is going to break us. It's a service that we offer the community, and maybe it's not at a profit, maybe it's not at our normal piece. But I would rather see us utilize a facility that we spent an obscene amount of money on that provides a great service to our community and to our kids, and actually see it used.
I'll weigh in there and to Counselor Adams' point, which I agree with is, so I was once told by my predecessor in this role that the town should run like a family and not like a business. In that sometimes you do things not to make profit, sometimes you do things because it is for the betterment of the organization, of the community, as the family as a whole. And that is one of the things that I do believe in. So my question on your report is, you've done a great job of providing the details about all the fiscal considerations, which absolutely need to be reviewed. But what I see are no positive or qualitative considerations in your report on the benefits of having the facility open. So your report reads like, this is the worst idea and it's fiscally irresponsible.
And I apologize if that's the sentiment that was taken from my report. My report was solely based on the facts and speaking to our financial guru. It was suggested to me, I don't have a dog in this fight, as there's no recommendation on this because it's solely just report of usage and potential impacts, and then wanted to leave it to mayor and council to pose questions to me. I'm not
So-
saying either way.
Flip that to the question side then. What are the positive and qualitative considerations for having the summer ice open so that you've seen as a benefit to our community?
Well, as far as the benefits, I mean, obviously we've seen an increase with 2 or 3 organizations that weren't in play and around in the community that are focusing on youth development and offering programs, teams, those types of pieces that weren't around in 2023 when summer ice first began. So that's a positive. I think anytime that you've got more ice time available in the community, it's a draw. We do draw from other communities. And like I say, our staff are working diligently to try and increase the bookings, but there is a ceiling on the number of camps that can run in any community, particularly if they don't have a hockey school and aren't closer to a larger metropolitan city, is my experience. But I mean, there are pros to the program. I apologize. As I say, I tried to keep this just sort of factual versus
And not
any
expecting
inputs.
apologies. It's just, if we're talking about the whole summer ice report,
Absolutely.
there's other pieces to it.
And I concur with Councillor Adams. We run a number of different programs. Not all are supported at 100% usage rates by any stretch of the imagination. As I was told when I came on board, we took this out for a test drive to see what the appetite was in the community and would we see growth. We've seen exponential growth slowly but surely. We didn't start probably at a high enough utilization rate. I think that would have been a better foundation. I wish we could say we started at 30 or 40% utilization and then we're building from there. I might be a little more positive, but I don't know when we would hit anything near 70 or 80% utilization. Councillor Adams stands to that question. Do I see us reaching 40 or 45? That potentially may display and show itself over the next season or two. The information I'm presenting is really to create a situation for you as council, mayor and council to have those pieces of information together so we can decide whether this is a program we run for another season or two to see if that trajectory continues to go upward.
Councillor Roland and then Councillor Gromlich.
I think this purpose of this is to give you guys a lot of information. Well, that makes it really comes down to, not a report, we'll talk more about it in this opportunity. Yeah, the MRC uses a lot of money, we've talked about that, and what's the extra. So when we're talking finding the budget, we're looking at $89,000, 1% increase. What can we get for 40 grand? One, power act here, or the other activities and programs that maybe are on the table. So we're just trying to paint a picture of what you guys are getting for here for further discussions later.
Absolutely. And I know it's and that's why I say I know it's information based, but to the piece of the fiscal, then we also need, if we're having that presented, we also need the qualitative consideration so that when we do go to budget discussions and, we sit at this table and there's, 4 of us returning, that we are able to say, okay, well, we know how much this costs, but what are the other impacts? Because you said it's not going to likely run at a profit. So where is it worth this 40,000? And Councillor Grumnick, you're up next.
Got a couple ones. Roland, you might know rather than Joe, what would our winter utilization rate be considered? Well, no, like if we're saying.
What's our utilization
Like
for the winter rate?
Like, it's definitely not 100, but what would that be?
Those are numbers that I would have put together, Councillor Gramlich, because as I'm sure most communities are aware, we're definitely running a winter ice program regardless of usage rate based on community needs and a partnership with minor hockey, but happy to put that together.
What do you think it is? Could you guess?
Well,
I won't hold you to, I'm just curious.
No, it's challenging. It's the same piece. We have school and play most of the day, so it's the same thing as summer ice, but we maximize our utilization on our non-school hour times that we aren't able to capitalize on in the summer rate because people are doing holidays and there's only so much available time. But in the winter season, we know that basically from 3:30 on or 4 o'clock on, we're booked till 9, 10 o'clock, and we're booked pretty much from early in the morning Saturday till late Saturday evening, and the same on a Sunday. So, and then the daytime gets filled out as the school breaks go. And that's sort of the same at every rink across the province. So,
But it probably, I don't know what it is either, but it wouldn't even crack.
it's a great question.
They could just put in consideration, like, we'll never get that to 70 because winter ice won't even be at 70. I don't think, but see if you could figure it out, but don't spend a ton of time on it. But if you can pull just the number out, and then I
Fair question.
part 2 here, staffing and labor was something we touched on that I think we kind of said we don't care about staffing and labor, hire 1,000 people, not really, but make sure we're if that's the setback. I just wanted to know what it says they didn't have as much time to go to the park stuff, but it didn't totally affect it yet. But if it was going to affect it, would that have came forward? And also, what are they doing in parks? Because I seem to remember basically giving parks away the different contractors.
No, there's a number of items and projects we have and we're looking to do moving forward in parks. I think the number one thing with staffing is, to be honest, the department on that side has struggled to hire and retain staff. It's a problem throughout many of the communities across Alberta right now. Having staff that are trained and certified to run and operate rinks and pools are at a premium, and they're moving quite quickly to go to other communities, or they're aging out, unfortunately, of the career. So we've had people that we've hired and not shown up for employment starts, and keeping that side of the rec department staffed fully, it just becomes one more stressor in relation to having that bit of a break, because all the staff have hustled and worked very hard from September to April. Then we run into the challenge of not having full staff to run through the summer months. We're really trying to build the crew up and ensure that we have enough staff and FTEs to be fully operational for winter. So it's becoming a bit of a cycle that, as I mentioned, not only town of Slave Lake, but other communities are facing with their staffing.
So the staffing is a struggle probably everywhere, but is it a struggle on the park side or the MRC side?
Well, it's both. I think it's a bit circular too, in that if we're running all through the winter and then we want them to run at full strength in the summer, it's a challenge to schedule them for time off if we don't have backup and support. And also to some of the projects that we've wanted to do, we just sort of keep putting them off, or we send out to independent contractors when really, in my opinion, there could be projects that we could be doing with our own staff, and potentially being a little more sharper on the dollar because there are staff and working on those projects in parks. But I think the biggest thing with staffing is a little bit of morale. There's a bit of burnout because we're having these people. And here's the thing, because the edict has been to fill upper ice times and those pieces, big kudos to the staff that we have. They've worked really hard, and a number of them have worked overtime through the summer season, trying to ensure that we take every booking and that we're not saying no. And some of those requests run into later hours of actually the building being open, because some of our teams want to play later in the evening in the summer because they've got availability, and we try and make that happen. So it's sort of a difficult one. Our staff are great, but sometimes I think that greatness creates a situation where they maybe burn the candle at both ends, trying to appease and assist the bookings that we get all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Adams.
Well, you asked some of my questions there too. But the staffing part, I'll touch on that as well. Again, doesn't that just simply come down to management of the staff, not necessarily burning them out? Where like we've directed before, if you have to hire, you hire and you manage. I don't like I hate overtime. I won't lie. But I understand when it's necessary, but we should not be giving enough overtime that we're actually concerned about burning people out and canceling vacations.
Counselor Adams, I wish we could hire staff and manage them. As I say, we've run into difficulties in retention as well as securing staff and advertising repeatedly for certain postings. Staff for, we have a member of the rink staff that's leaving to go work for a larger mill company and make probably double the wage. So it's hard it's easy, I think, to say just hire more and post more. But if we had human resources here beside us, she would share some of the challenges that we've had in trying to fill those positions, bring in qualified people and then retain them. So if it was a situation where staffing of days gone by where everybody wanted to work for the town and was happy to have the hours, I think that's a different consideration. Right now, what we're finding is a fair amount of turnover in that department, which means when you don't have bodies and you're trying to keep up service delivery, you then end up with overtime and you can also lead to burnout. So I wish it was simple, but we haven't been able to backfill the positions as we would wish. And that's just been a reality of hiring.
Okay, another question for you then. What have we done to promote the ice, sell the ice basically? And have we started booking next year? Have we reached out to any of these ice hockey camps and stuff for next year?
We will be having, as we had an ice users meeting in September for the winter season, there'll be a January meeting with the ice users for 2026. We expect a 2026 season, and any decision made would be in reference to 2027. Our booking team are working to retain and invite the camps back that we've had in the past, as well as putting word out there with other camps that have offered camps anywhere in the Whitecourt within a 2-hour radius at other facilities to see if they will add Slave Lake to their schedule. And that's one thing too. We will work with the local organizations in January at the users meeting for spring and summer ice to try and see if we can get rid of the backlog for Tuesday, Wednesdays that everybody seems to have planned on the same day rather than having the ability to schedule things out. And we are working towards filling the spots the best we can. I think we are, as I've said before, we are potentially looking at reaching a ceiling for who's out there that wants to rent summer ice in Slave Lake.
Alex, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I just want to add to your question about staff. This isn't the only department or the only, we're struggling with staff in other departments as well as our friends across the road at the MD. We all have issues in certain, the staff that run the MRC are obviously trained to a different standard with their levels. So it's something we're struggling with. We've had basically a full-time position there open for most of the year, just trying to fill it. So it's been an ongoing struggle.
Counselor Adams.
So we're not talking about skilled ice makers. We're not talking about maintenance. We're not talking about that. You're talking about front end.
No, people
You're
that drive the
here.
Zamboni, like the guys that keep that plant running.
Yeah.
We do not have somebody to run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Between the staff that are there, they do a very good job of it.
Yeah.
But we are
But I
short in
agree,
those.
they're doing a
yeah.
great job of it.
So we are short. We have had conversations about the ice is there in the summer. If there's not a Zamboni driver, rent it out. We'll clean it when somebody comes in, but we do not have a qualified Zamboni there 24 hours a day to 7 days a week. We have to have we just don't have the trained staff to do that right now.
What's involved in expanding that? Or it just hasn't had the opportunity for you to expand it?
Well, I mean, we've tried to expand it with offering training and, skill development for our staff that are not currently operators, but having those people stick around to get them trained and be there for you 6 months later is part of our challenge as well. It's having people that want to be here in 12 months, whether we do the training or whether they come with it. It's really been the challenge. And it also leads to the question of succession planning, but that's another discussion with mayor and council in relation to how we replace the seasoned veterans that we have in that area of the department to ensure we've got the same service delivery, 24, 36 months from now. And that's really the one piece that I'm working on. And it's really
Good. I'm glad you're working on that one. Have you also reached out to other ice users, not your typical hockey camps, hockey this, hockey that is. Like, are we looking at other options, figure skating, practice pieces, any?
Traditionally, in speaking to those organizations, their kids are taking the summer off and they lace back up again in September. There's not traditionally, in speaking to figure skating as an example, they don't traditionally run figure skating camps in the summer. And those that do are traditionally from the work that one of my managers did. Congratulations to Ashley. She did great work contacting other rinks to see how they try and backfill their summer ice. And that wasn't anything that came up. And in speaking to those groups, not something that really is an appetite out there for.
Counselor Adams.
Motion to accept as information.
There's a motion on the floor. Do we have any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. And that is carried. Thank you. Roland, you're up next regarding the council compensation policy.
Right, the fun one. Good evening, your worship and members of council. Before you for tonight's report, I'm bringing an update on the council compensation policy for the next council term. I am going to go in a little bit in depth on this just for the benefit of the viewers out there. So for the background here and our current compensation policy, which is attached as the last attachment in the package here. How it's run right now is we have a compensation review committee. The town council's compensation review committee is a public citizen committee appointed by council to review the current compensation package and recommend changes for the next term of office. And so with that, though, the council compensation committee only provides a recommendation. At the end of the day, council is still the governing authority, so they can either accept or reject that. The committee is struck every 4 years in an election year, with a term running from May to no later than October. It typically meets once and may request a facilitator to guide its discussion. The Director of Finance and/or CAO serves as a staff resource to supply information and analysis. Membership is filled through the town's committee advertising process, and any recommendations, changes take effect as prescribed in the policy's remuneration schedule for the next term, subject to council approval by resolution. So that's kind of how it's supposed to work per policy. How council is compensated. So there's 3 methods currently on how council is compensated. There is an annual salary, a biweekly allowance. There's council meeting compensation, which applies to 2 types of meetings, regular meetings of councils and committee of the whole. And then there's an hourly rate with a daily cap. And so that hourly rate applies to various committees and other activities that council needs to attend for $45 an hour up to a maximum of $350 per day. 2017 to present, the current compensation schedule was established for the 2017 to 2021 term with explicit language that the biweekly allowance would be adjusted annually by COLA beginning November 1st, 2017. In practice, rates and allowances have remained at the 2017 levels, and prior councils have repeatedly declined increases. COLA has not been applied. And although the policy contemplated the COLA increase, these adjustments just have not been implemented as they've been voted down each time. Town council's pay framework includes an annual salary for ongoing duties, meeting-based compensation for formal council and committee of the whole sessions, hourly lost time with a daily cap. While the 2017 policy envisioned the annual COLA for biweekly allowance, no changes have been made. In election years, the policy also provides a Public Citizen Council Compensation Committee to review and recommend changes. So after reviewing this, reaching out and doing a lot of analysis and a lot of policy reading and a lot of other, I would say, towns and communities of our size, I did not review any MDs or things of that nature. Just kind of kept it to what are their towns, and then kind of towns similar in our size, whether they were smaller or not. And in this council compensation committee, and reviewing all of this around the comparator towns, I noted that a majority of the comparator towns do not use a council compensation review committee. Where they do exist, it seems to be typically in larger municipalities, Grand Prairie, or specialized municipalities such as Banff. Locally over the past decade, convening a committee has not delivered value. Recommendations have consistently been rejected by successive councils, which have opted to not change the compensation structure or the rates. So given the limited benefit realized in Slave Lake, the administrative time and cost of forming a committee, the prevailing practice among peers, continuing with the committee model is not warranted. So it is the recommendation of administration that we discontinue the use of the Council Compensation Review Committee and instead adopt an administration-led market review once each election cycle that reports directly to council. Reviews would reference the AMC surveys and approved comparator sets with clear treatment of COLA, meeting per diems, practices, and allowances. Off-cycle reviews may be triggered by material market shifts or legislative changes. This approach improves predictability, efficiency, transparency, while keeping council as the final decision maker. So that's on the review committee itself. As far as the compensation piece, the town of Slave Lake participates in an annual AMC wage and compensation survey. So we've been in this for quite a number of years, but the amount of information that we get has kept on improving. And so we keep referencing this because the information we do get is greater and greater and greater. We also do pay for a little extra package to get a specialized report that compares Slave Lake to a couple comparator things. So we get information on the whole, and then we get one that really analyzes Slave Lake to other municipalities, which we haven't had access to before. So this approach for administration-led wise really cuts down on the amount of time that we got because surveying individual municipalities, sometimes I get 3 responses, sometimes I get 2, sometimes I get 1. In this, we got a whole bunch of people that we normally don't get. So it's a great resource to use. So we did use this data set to compare our council against peer municipalities. And from that, the review indicates that our town structure places greater emphasis on variable pay, per meeting pay or per diem, while our base remuneration lags behind our peers, which can reduce budget predictability and potentially undervalue non-meeting responsibilities. Other municipalities, by contrast, tend towards a higher base salary with less emphasis on meeting-based pay. And so in the analysis done by AMSC, the town comparison, so that's what they provided in their report. Then when we went on our own and we went to Westlock, High Prairie, and Athabasca and got some of their information, included it in some more comparators, and that's kind of all of the towns that are compared in this analysis here. So with that, the annual allowance and salary, and I should note on here, there's a lot of nuance in exactly how the compensation works. Annual allowance can cover various different duties in one municipality versus another. The per diems can vary exactly what your responsibility is. So I've done my best and the team has done our best to take a look at exactly what someone was getting paid in one place versus the duties that they're assigned to what you guys are here to give the best comparators possible. But per policy on Slave Lake, on the annual allowance, the mayor gets 23,000, the deputy gets 13,800, and a councillor gets 12,650. By contrast, on the average for other towns, a mayor would get $36,000 a year on their annual allowance, and a councillor would get 17,856. That's the average. So where we sit is below the median. On the variable pay, and again, this one is a little bit nuanced. We tried to match this here. These are for the per meeting things. So the mayor gets $280 a meeting and the councillor gets $250 a meeting. And that pertains to the 3 meetings a month, regular and the committee of the whole. So both of these rates here on a per meeting basis, we're sitting at the top of the market on both roles. The per day, where applicable, $350 as the max. Again, was above the medium, near the top. Per half day, the town of Slave Lake currently does not provide a half day per diem. On the hourly wage side, $45 an hour for some of the duties that council performs. Again, this was reported at the top of the range. The telecom allowance, just for comparison, other places got about $450 a year. Currently, the town of Slave Lake presides $0 for a telecom allowance for council. And then combining this all together, the average annual remuneration for council for the town of Slave Lake is about $30,686. And for the average other town was $31,000. So this is basically, at the end of the day, what you would expect to earn in a year, provided all your duties, getting paid your meeting fees, getting paid your hourly wages. So council is slightly below average, but only a couple $100 really off the average. Where we really fall behind everybody else is on the mayor's remuneration. So the town of Slave Lake is sitting roughly around 42,000. And the average now on the comparator level is 60,000. So there's a significant variance there on the compensation that we provide the mayor. Also looked at but not provided, because we do not provide any benefits. So none, and there is a considerable amount of benefits that I found that other municipalities are now providing their council. And so that's also taken into consideration. On the methodology, I won't go too far into that. If you have any questions, just please let me know. But we did our best to take the information provided and give you the clearest representation of what we could find to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Other information to note there. So regular council meetings on average there's 23 council meetings a year on average for all of the municipalities combined. Average meeting length was 2.8 hours. Estimated annual seat time from regular meetings, 65 hours. Special council meetings, there was 6 on average. So on a monthly basis, this equals to about 2 regular meetings and half a special meeting per month. On average is what other councils kind of tend to incur. For benefits provided to council members. So again, the town of Slave Lake offers nothing. I think you guys get 2 little life insurance things. Of the surveyed municipalities, 88% on average provided their council with extended healthcare, 89 with dental, 91 for vision, 88% on dependent life, with the average annual cost per council member at $3,600. There was a split between if the municipality was fully employer paid or expense, or if council could opt in but pay at their own expense. Most places are now offering fully employer paid benefits to the council members, while a minority still allow council to get the benefits, but they just have to opt in and pay for it. Other type of compensation that we encountered that the town does not offer, which was interesting, and just for information there was family reimbursement. So I did find a couple of places that offered council members up to $2,400 per calendar year in childcare expenses so that they could attend council meetings, training, everything that council needs to do in the capacity of thing to help attract candidates to the position. Clothing allowance. That's fairly typical now among most membered municipalities, a telephone allowance and a technology allowance. And these were all kind of things that were common against most other places, although the range was wide and significant. Some places was $50, some places you got $1,000 for clothing and all that. So where do we sit? So just as a summary, annual councilors is basically on average about 1.2% lower than market value. Again, sitting on salary light, variable heavy. Mayor, considerably less than other places with an $18,000 or 30% gap. And again, for the additional benefit note, we just scanned on annual remuneration only. We did not evaluate benefit allowances or other perks that they use to attract candidates. So we just provided you the information of what other places had. As for the recommendations, I provided 2 policies in there, both with a little bit different structure. For council counselor pay recommendation, no change to the remuneration levels at this time. We recommend maintaining the current structure and apply the annual COLA to the base biweekly allowance in accordance with the policy to keep compensation competitive. So I believe that at this time, we can keep counselors on average and on pace if we start applying the COLA, if council actually matches their pay with staff's COLA, that should keep us in check with other municipalities. Something to think about, either this term or next term, just to align with our comparators, is the employer paid benefits for counselors. We went ahead and took a look at what it would cost this council or our council to get kind of the similar benefit package that others were offering. It was about $4,200 a year per counselor. Again, that can be adjusted depending on exactly the type of benefit package we would like to extend to a counselor. Mayor, the recommendation here on administration side is to increase the total mayoral remuneration by $18,000 to align with similar municipalities. We could do this in a number of different ways. We could implement it as a phase-based salary, as adjusting $4,500 per year over 4 years. Layer on COLA to keep consistent with the policy, and keep everything meeting per diem structures as is for now, revisit it during the next reviewed schedule. Giving you the whys already. And then the options, yeah, so again here, $4,500 for year over 4 years. You could front load it $9,000 in year 1, then $3,000 in years 2 and 4. Or option C, we had there one full-time adjustment of $18,000 starting on the next term. So keeping this term exactly the same and implementing at the end of the next. These would all get us to the average remuneration for a mayor based on our comparators one way or another. Again, I also added in employer paid benefits for the mayor at a cost of $4,200. Other things to consider for future councils is recruitment. So if candidate interest declines in future election cycles, council may wish to consider targeted additions with clear eligibility and caps, such as family dependent care reimbursements, telephone or technology allowance, or town issued devices to reduce barriers to participation. So policy options presented to before you. So all I have done in these policies is rewritten the policy. I have not increased anyone's pay. I've basically taken the old policy, thrown it out, rewritten the whole thing, updated the definitions to make it a little bit more clear, to outline exactly what is covered on the hourly basis, and just to make the general reading of it easier. And also in all of these policies options, the council compensation committee has been that has been removed, and will move to an administration led review. So with that, yeah, so compensation rules, we've changed little things there. What's included in base, hourly, lost time, and then the other additions that we added there was just to create a distinct timesheet, attendance requirement section, who files when, where, how it's verified, and just kind of updating all of those little rules. For the expenses and reimbursements, again, updated that little section just to make it a little bit more clear on exactly how reimbursements work, when they're supposed to be submitted, how you get paid. One thing that I saw that was lacking, that's always kind of a question, it's been an ongoing thing here, and we've updated in here, and we're going to update another policy too, is the gratuity rule. So we've defined it at a capped percentage so that everyone is clear that you can provide somewhat of a tip, not 100% tip, but a tip would be an eligible expense. So we're not the people at the table not providing our servers with a little bit of something. We created a travel section there just to update to our current practice, and then added a clear and ineligible expense list. And so the two policies attached that are up for council review here. Option 1 is status quo with annual COLA base. So all the first policy does is keep absolutely everything the same, and we just update the wording and get rid of the council compensation. So the base salary stays the same, your regular meeting amount stays the same, and your hourly / lost wages stay exactly the same. No changes whatsoever. So pros, we got minimal disruption, simple to implement, and preserves our currently meeting hourly structure. Considerations, base salary remains below market if COLA lags. It's still hourly administration and documentation continue, and variable pay emphasis continues. It's a little bit harder to budget for that. Option 2, what we've done here is just done a little bit of a pay structure rebalance. So we've basically increased the base salary for council and mayor by reducing the regular meetings. So instead of getting paid for the 3 meetings, that's now included in your base salary. The per diem stays exactly the same. So that's really the only significant change between option 1 and option 2. And so the difference between the first and the second, really just focus on that, getting rid of that regular pay and rolling it into your base salary. So at the end of the day, you can choose option 1, option 2. You could provide option 3, which is propose any additions or changes that you'd like to see. Or if you don't want to do anything, we can absolutely do nothing and keep the existing policy in place. The recommendation to council from administration is to go with option 2, the pay structure rebalance, as the basis for updating the council compensation policy. And with that, open to any questions.
Counselor Adams.
I'll lead it off again, I guess. I have a problem with increasing the base rate across the board, doing it as this flat thing. I kind of like it being heavily weighted on participation. You're going to committees, you're doing that kind of stuff. I do prefer that method over what we're comparing to in some other municipalities. I kind of wish, instead of using the most recent data for comparative numbers, we were using maybe numbers from 2 years ago. The main reason when you're taking comparison from the counselors, because we're down 2 counselors, we're a lot heavier on what our charges are, what it is. Our time commitments are insane compared to what they were 2 years ago.
No, and so just for clarity's sake, that didn't factor into this. This is a policy-based approach. When I got to my real numbers, right? So when I'm looking and I'm doing actuals or looking at, I flushed that out. That is not in here because yes, last year,
Okay.
Yes, there was a couple people where your average annual amount would be higher simply because of that. When I did an average actual, all I did was council members in the last, I think from 2017 to today, that had worked 12 months, excluding the 2 last year that were kind of anomalies, just due to the fact that it's clear from the data that this doesn't fit the thing. So when we're looking at exactly what council is getting compensated, it's 12 months from 2017 to 2025 on a counselor who on average worked 12 months. And I excluded the ones that, had 10 months, 7 months. And this is, so you're getting concrete data, not adjusted for people having to take
So
on extra.
when you're
duties.
saying most recent year in your report, what are you meaning then?
Just policy wise. Like the
When you're
most
quoting
recent
numbers.
policy. And so really the
Sorry,
only number
just
that
trying to
you're looking on
understand it, I
here.
guess.
So average annual remuneration for council and the mayor here would be based on that kind of, I guess, current year would be current cycle. So the last 4 years. So I've adjusted just to take out, because I know we have 5 here, so I didn't want to, hey, you guys are getting paid way more. This is the average. No, that's not fair, because
Mhm.
you are taking on more meetings. So that was accounted for.
Okay.
And then for the option B, again, definitely from your guys' perspective, or from my perspective, on the biweekly allowance, I see that more and more that people aren't getting paid per meeting. Now, I totally agree that there could be some issues with if you have a lack of attendance. However, the expectation of a council member is to be up to date on all council meetings, regardless if they're here or not. And having worked with past councilors, I do know when they did miss a meeting, there's still substantial time for them to have to go back and watch the meeting. So while you're not here in person, I still think that there's a lot of time spent maybe reviewing the meeting minutes and or the YouTube video there to get caught up. So in a sense, while you're not at the meeting, you're still spending maybe 3 hours afterwards on your own time having to review that meeting and get up to speed. So That's just kind of where I came from of why the biweekly allowance made more sense in my mind, because there is a lot of time commitment. And are we paying you for the time or time to sit in the seat or actually do the work, right? So you're going to do it whether you're here or not. So that's kind of where I was coming from that I've seen.
Counselor Adams?
I guess I don't necessarily disagree with the fact for these meetings being rolled into the one. It's the additional meetings at the 45 an hour. piece.
Yeah, and I did not roll those on. So on either option two, the $45 an hour and what's laid out for that stays exactly the same as is now. I just clarified exactly what you got paid for in the $45 an hour so that it was a little more clear. All that was removed was the 3 regular council meetings rolled into the biweekly allowance.
Okay, with the mayoral compensation.
Speak freely. I didn't make this report.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with an $18,000 hike and hitting our budget that direction. I do, though, 100% agree that the mayoral piece has consistently been underpaid since about 2012 or more, older even. And it should be increased. That is something we should weigh in. I agree. Even the counselor rates, I feel, are significantly lower than where they should be. But I can see not phasing something like that immediately because even with the commitments we have on our committees, the overall compensation level, I think, is there, but it's never enough that it actually compensates for the time and the effort that you're putting in. I know you made some reference here that this is something that would weigh in for people to want to run, to do whatever. I honestly disagree with that to a point. The main reason is, I feel anyways, personally, the reason people don't run, it is the social media piece. It is that which is what deters anybody from running on this council and which has caused nothing but heartache and stress for a whole number, I would say 100% of this council, not to speak for everybody. But it causes undue problems, and therefore putting the compensation level up to a significant number, I don't think is going to achieve what we necessarily wanted to achieve. I'm hitting on a bunch of here. The other point that I wanted to talk on was when we're taking in, I know you said we're not taking in other MDs and stuff, but I think we should, as far as our near neighbors being the MD 124, should be part of this compensation discussion to see what that is and where we are with our neighbors. Taking in Wabasca Desmarais, for example, doesn't make sense to do. Because they have full-time and it's totally different structure than what we are. And I think I've talked enough for a little while.
Counselor Hughes?
Oh, am I on? Yeah, thank you. I was just gonna kind of comment that I agree with a lot of the points that Counselor Adams has made at this time. In terms of the mayor role, I did want to weigh in that I think since I've been sitting behind this chair and Frankie has taken in that role, I can see very clearly and understand that the workload there does vary quite a bit from the council chair to the mayor. There's a lot more time involved with administration, all those types of things. So to that note, I do think it would be nice to have a conversation about something of an increase. Swallowing, $18,000 all at once, though, is probably not a place that I'm willing to play in at this point in time. And unfortunately, this is just kind of one of those have to have conversations, I suppose, but obviously it's pretty uncomfortable to be sitting here talking about giving yourself a raise when you're also using taxpayer dollars to do it. That's kind of an interesting predicament to find yourself in. I don't know how I feel about the rest at this current moment. Yeah.
Counselor, I'm gonna let Counselor Adams weigh in, and are you done? or-
I was just gonna say, some of the other benefits I was also surprised to hear of, that other councils are doing benefits or different initiatives. I do feel like that's kind of nice to that point as well, but also when we're looking at that amount of money, I don't know that it's something that I would want to support, $25,000 for us to have benefits. That's that's a big impact as well. So I don't know if that's something, it sounds nice, but to actually put my money where my mouth is, I don't know that I would be willing to do that at this point in time.
So that we don't have to have a counselor short for a vote, we're gonna take in the middle of your report, I know,
Oh.
unorthodox, we're gonna take a 10-minute recess and then we'll come back.
Oh, okay.
Can we not do that?
You can do it. We're talking about giving ourselves
I think we should
a
continue.
horrible idea to take a 10-minute break.
Yeah,
Okay, we can wait then if
I was done for now. Let's.
We're gonna-
it's, okay,
I'll stay. Take-
okay, that's fine.
Well, it looks
We'll stay.
horrible.
Okay, we'll stay. And if counselor needs to excuse themselves, they are welcome to do so. Never mind. Ignore that thought. This is the last council meeting, so there will be chaos. That is just how, this is just how this goes. Sorry, Roland, continue. Kim or Councillor Hughes, are you done with?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Adams, you are next on my discussion list.
Okay. The other part that we're talking is bringing in COLA into this, so I figure we might as well address that while we're at this too. Well, for one, I have a hard time wrapping my head around a guaranteed raise every year. Not everybody gets it, but that being said, as a town, we don't necessarily give out COLA every year.
Correct.
I don't necessarily disagree with the idea that tying COLA into the council as well, so that council in the future would not be giving significant raises while at the same time cutting employees. I would hope not, they wouldn't, but again, it's there, it's an opportunity. So tying that piece in, and taking away the need necessarily to have this continual debate over compensation, which is a very difficult debate to have, I think might be beneficial overall, as much as I'm not always in favor of COLA.
Councillor Hughes.
I was just gonna comment that I kind of like how you worded that, and like it's important to note that obviously the 2% increase would not be happening unless it was happening across the board. It wouldn't be just something that we're deciding as a council at budget time to only reward to ourselves. So it's good to kind of make that distinction there, I guess, in that way. I like your point about that. Probably more than I like anything else at this time. For this anyway.
Go ahead, Roland.
From, I guess, yeah, you guys have to sit there and look, you're getting compensated from this side of the table, though. It's looking at the position and making sure that the position here in 4 years is competitive for the next group of people as well, too. It's,
Yeah.
sure, yes, you get a little bit of benefit while you're here, while in this position, but overall, we're trying to make the council spot attractive for as many people as possible. So that's kind of just one mechanism that other places are using, is just small increases every year on that bi-weekly allowance, so that 4 years go by, there's not a bigger step that needs to do to attract another slate of candidates.
Councillor Adams.
To that comment, though, I mean, anybody that comes on this, I would argue, anyways, I'll again put words in your guys' mouth. I did not come here for this compensation. It's the effort that's in here does not justify the compensation, so it is not ideal. You're doing it for the betterment of the community. You're doing it for giving back to the community you've either grown up in or you really care about. Not the exact words I was going to use, but we'll go with care. So again, I'll say that I don't think our counselor positions necessarily need to go and be increased. I'm very in favor of keeping it heavily weighted on the hourly piece. I would be willing to, as a discussion point, say that maybe we want to blend that per meeting being these meetings, not committee meetings, and the base rate all into one charge. I would not necessarily be against that. And I would be in favor of a mayoral base increase of about $8,000-ish is what I would go with. Just off the top of my head here and from what I've seen in the comparators. And see, what I would do is like to see where that leads us in another 4 years. How that compares out, how it flushes out, especially when you got a full board of 7 where every counselor is not only committed to every single meeting, but is also evenly distributed amongst the committee meetings, and we can see a better comparison. And then go from there. And maybe unfortunately, it gets brought up again in another term to be addressed, especially to that Alberta Municipality Survey report, with it getting more and more in depth. I would like us to verify and find out when we can, or if we can share that information, since a lot of that information in the regular salaries, base pay, all that kind of stuff is public documentation. So it should be able to be shareable, or at least parsed out. I'd like us to at least explore that considerably. And yeah, all I have to say.
Counselor Gramlich?
Yeah, I don't mind the blend either, Roland. That's not a bad idea. I've always drives me nuts, and the mayor could attest to it, when there's a short agenda and I'm like, why are we having a meeting for, like, do you know how much money this meeting's costing us to have for 45 minutes? This is crazy. So that I know the staff time will still count, but ours is already blended in. So I think that's an okay idea to work with. So it might, I don't know. I'm comfortable with it without rambling. And so we're about 18K behind on the mayor. That's your ballpark. And we don't have to catch right up. Sorry, mayor. But
I didn't make this report.
I'm just bugging you.
Full disclosure, I did not make
Steve
this
said
report.
8. You want to do like 2 this year and then an additional 2 on and an additional 2 on to get it to the 8, or you just want to rip a Band-Aid off and go to 8?
I think you rip a Band-Aid, go to 8.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious what you want to do.
And just approve that, run it for the next 4 years, reassess on the next term, or when you're going through your next budget lines, and away we go. The only problem I guess we still got to formally pass the budget, the new council. The budget has already been put forward, and for that 2-year piece, but
That's a small number that we could.
yeah, that we need to figure out what we're doing there. But I think that's the right way to do it, and see where it goes. Because I mean, even when Tyler was in the role, we were saying he puts an obscene amount of time in for what he was compensated. So
And Counselor Achoba next. No, Counselor Gramlich, wait, did I hit?
Oh, I didn't.
Okay,
I'm not good at
sorry,
this
I'm
yet.
working on the new system. Alex
Thank
is
you.
shaking his head at me. It's fine. We're getting there. We're gonna get there. Counselor Achoba, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Roland, again for the report. Very extensive. I think I'm going to start with the mayor compensation. I 100% disagree with my colleagues. I think compensation should be based on a fair scale. And if we're saying we're significantly behind, then nothing stops us from bringing ourselves to a comparable rate. And, I think the mayor that we have right now, I mean, I don't know I've not worked closely or this close with any mayor, but I see the amount of work that is put in, similar to what Councillor Hughes shared. And I think we should be looking at making it a fair increase to bring it close to, of course, what the average would look like. I don't necessarily agree with 8,000 that was proposed. I think we can phase it out over a couple of years, but with the hope to get close to that comparable rate. That's where I stand with that. And all the others I agree with.
Counselor Adams.
I'm talking way too much today.
To get it all in now. This is,
I'm not arguing the fact that Mayor Ward puts in an obscene amount of work. I know she does. She cares about this community and where it's going. We're not here judging her compensation. We're here judging the role's compensation. And as such, I feel that, yes, we may be below in the overall piece, but we need to weigh that out to the committee placements, what those hours are in, and to jump right up to 18,000, whether we're phasing in or not, and going for a full compensation package that we're targeting over 60,000 a year on. I think it's better to take the small steps, see what it is, and then address it from there. to do it rather than do it all at once and go, oh, we overshot the mark. Now we're on the top end. Let's trim it back, right? I think we need to see how this role plays out, how the next mayor plays out, or whatever the case may be as we go forward.
Counselor Gremlich.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of ramble like with Steve's stuff, a little different, little my flavor, but the same answer at the end.
Thanks, man.
I think there's a number there that we're behind on everywhere, but I don't know where, I get how hard it is, but I don't know what's fair for the taxpayer, what's fair for this. No one runs for the mayor or council seat to make money, or at least I didn't.
Definitely don't.
Steve didn't, okay, none of us did. Andrew didn't. I just don't know what a jump should be. Considering my first year on council, had these same conversations and we just kept voting no, and we'd have a new council committee and we'd vote no. I've never been part of voting for it because it's a delicate subject. And I don't want to start ripping giant Band-Aids off to catch up. I understand why we have to rip a giant Band-Aid off or part of that Band-Aid off because we get so far behind on these things, but
It hasn't been brought back, so for what? How many years are we, 9 years, 2017?
it's,
2017 would be the last.
So 2017, so I will caveat this jump in here though, like we should make a decision today,
no,
either yes or
that's what I'm
no.
saying. I think we should, I'm comfortable with what Steve had kind of said there, and well, it's Roland's report, just a gradual raise of some sort to the mayor position. Everything else is close enough, and we are probably behind, but it's close enough that we're not so far behind. That one, looking online and looking at some of Roland's numbers and stuff, that one is quite a bit behind, but not, I don't think we have to be a leader or catch all the way up to it. Steve's number I was comfortable with. Not a hill to die on, but it's a start to something.
Counselor Hughes?
Yeah, I would just agree with that comment as well. You know, I think obviously we've spent 8 years deferring this conversation overall, and we're going to continue. Someone's going to have it in the future and make some sort of decision to move us forward. I think looking at the salary rates and kind of listening to your guys' comments on that, I think that I would be comfortable with Councillor Adams' suggestion for the mayor at this point in time, especially looking at your report and seeing that the council salary is in that average and that the mayor is not at all, like 30% disparity. I think I would feel comfortable at least trying to move that upward in a better trending direction, but still be sort of conservative with that. So perhaps that is a happy medium that I would be more comfortable in playing with. And I do like the idea of the blended meeting rate as well, that you guys also have been mentioning.
Counselor Adams.
Okay, so if I want to make this motion, then how am I going to stipulate what I would like to see where, and then do I still quote the same policy number?
Or is it done piece by piece?
We're gonna have to amend Appendix A. So I think we would pick your policy and then we can amend the appendix as needed.
Basically okay, I'll tell you what I want. You can tell me because it gets confusing in here with A, B, C, and then option 1, 2, 3. It's like, I want to increase the base pay with the mayor. I want to keep the committee hourly piece weighted that way, how the structure currently is, and I want us to include COLA.
So when you clarifying
sense?
on the
Okay.
committee piece, you're saying you want to do the blended with the regular meetings with the wage, but the committee, the $45 an hour is
Stays that way.
separate.
That's how.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
option B.
Okay,
Option
just
B,
making sure.
yep.
And then and then COLA gets applied.
yes.
Yeah, that's in both, yep. So COLA's, that's the only thing that I did
Yeah,
change in
yeah,
there
I
is
was just
COLA
clear.
was included in both. But so if you want an additional salary, we would just have to amend Appendix A to add what we wanted.
So it's option B with, okay, Counselor Adams, continue with that.
So I can make a motion to amend Appendix A. Or sorry, Appendix A.
Yeah.
From the mayoral to be $8,000 higher than what's stipulated.
Okay.
That's my motion.
That's your motion. We have a motion on the floor. There is further discussion. Counselor Gramlich.
I just had a question, Roland, when you're doing research, is this on now? Yeah,
Yes.
oh my God. Did you, was there any precedent for, counselors in other municipalities or areas missing meetings and stuff where someone, I don't think anyone will, but like, let's say you're getting your salary, and I believe now if you miss 3 meetings in a row without some serious issues, the council could vote you out or something. But is there any way that someone's gonna mail it in and go every 4th meeting? Was there a precedent to remove their salaries or anything? Could be a rarity. I was just curious if you.
Yeah, not that I've done, when I focused on mainly was just reading other places' policies and
Yeah.
stuff like that, so I can't really, I can kind of generalize exactly what I think the thought process was going on there, but as far as abuse and stuff, I think in the MGA too, if you miss X number of meetings.
Yeah, there's-
All right,
It
you
may
guys.
fall under a council code of conduct.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you came across anything. There's more of a
More of the
curiosity
bigger
question.
issues where there's a issue with council and council has to figure out council.
Is there anything further?
No, this is more just, I'm nosy and wanted to see what's out there. Thank you.
Fair. Is there any further, there's a motion on the floor from Counselor Adams. Is there any further discussion to that effect? I will weigh in on discussion from myself, not on the base pay, because there is, sitting on both sides of Counselor and Mayor, there is, I guess I will weigh in on it. There is a definite discrepancy in the level of work that, you know, to Mayor Warman's credit there, even though I thought I was prepared, I was not. So that being said, there is a discrepancy, but I think the best judge of that is the council colleagues. So I will not comment on that amount. I do like the idea of the blended pay with the regular meetings. Everyone screws it up on the timesheets anyway. So I think, and I do actually like your point, Roland. That's great about how you still have to, even if you miss a meeting, understand what was passed at the previous meeting. So that was a great point that I honestly didn't fully process. So I'm fully in favor of that, as well as keeping the $45 an hour, because there is a level of commitment for the extracurricular, like the external meetings. And I think COLA makes sense if we are voting for COLA in budget, like COLA isn't guaranteed per our policies. So that's a budget decision every year. So that way we can keep everything moving together and hopefully avoid these incredibly awkward, dreaded reports that have been pushed off for a long time. Is there any further discussion after my lovely rant? Okay, as I see none, motion on the floor, I'll call to question those in favor. And that will be carried.
Just note that
Perfect.
Councillor Achoba abstained from voting, so.
Yes, if we can make that on the record.
We can keep staying.
Yes.
Purpose.
You
Yeah,
amended the policy. Did you provide the motion to
Accept the policy.
accept the policy? Okay, sorry. Oh, we're done. Moving ahead of myself.
Talk.
Someone hit their microphone button. Never mind. Counselor Adams, it's back to you.
Took too long. Okay. I move that council approves of council compensation policy CO.leg -25.1004 revised as of October 14th, 2005. Is that correct motion? Just to verify, because I'm getting confused on the As and Bs.
Nope, that would be the right. That's the right one.
I got it right.
Okay, motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Call to question those in favor. That is carried. Alex,
Can you please clarify the vote on the motion before that for the mayoral part? We only had it as 4. Was there a fifth?
yes, so
vote?
Counselor Achoba abstained from voting
Stepped-
because he stepped out. So from our understanding is that when you step up, same on this. So if you can make a note that Counselor Achoba abstained because he had left during the report.
Just want a clarification.
Yep.
People will see his handsome face on the camera and they'll be all confused, so just want to make sure we document that he didn't vote.
Yeah, so we can clearly put that in there that it was on purpose. And now, is that the last of the motions you need for this?
I think we're good now. We got
Okay,
it.
so now I will call for a short recess. Thank you. Okay, we'll move forward into our next report, which is the town shop yard safety enhancements. Roland?
We're here to ask for some additional money for town shop yard safety enhancements. So we're seeking approval for safety upgrades at the town shop yard to add LED/stadium lighting area and an expanded network video security system. Just for your information, attached to this report is a extremely detailed map of the town shop with really nice outlines of what we have and what we're gonna go. So just to follow along, you can look at that back page. So over the past year, the town has taken incremental steps to improve security at the shop yard. Additional cameras were installed last year and supplementary lighting was added during the spring, summertime of this year using our operating funds. Further measures were intended for next year through a capital budget request. Perimeter fencing remains an ongoing maintenance issue due to frequent breaches. While options to upgrade fencing have been reviewed and remained under consideration, the tools now used by the offenders who are getting into the yard are increasingly powerful, making high security fencing costly relative to its deterrence value. To address security and the overall layout of the yard, administration initiated a site planning exercise during the summer this year. The plan is to reorganize the yard to improve its overall layout, sightlines, and the operational efficiency within the yard, and explores the uses of buildings and other structures as physical barriers, reducing the reliance on fencing alone. The proposed lighting and camera enhancements target the current coverage deficiencies and are consistent with our longer-term site plan. Following recent break-ins at the town shop yard, administration is requesting funding for immediate security enhancements to address identified coverage gaps and improve deterrence and detection methods. So on the map, the orange area is where basically most of our current existing security measures and cameras and lighting have been installed. That's kind of where we've gotten so far to secure the overall yard. Also in those in the blue area there, there is stuff there, but a lot of its gravel piles are kind of stealable stuff. Like you have to have a dump truck or something to kind of get out of there. So that's why it wasn't as a high priority as our other areas. But the blue area is now where we're primarily focusing, just because some people seem to be getting in through there and it's very dark and you can hide. And we'd like to light that up like the 4th of July. The red section here, again, when looking at the overall picture and the security of the site, there's a lot of trees that bud the perimeter here. They're not on our land, they're on adjacent landowner's land. And so we're kind of in talks with them to see if we can cut a little bit of a perimeter out there, further expanding exactly where the light can shine off and where our cameras could actually detect people who seem to be sneaking up along the fence line, cutting through or doing whatever they are doing to get in. So that's further on. Right now, tonight, we're just asking for the blue area. So yeah, currently underway too. I think we're on week 3. A major yard reorganization is and has been in progress. So including the removal of unnecessary materials to improve the layout, sightlines, and the efficiency. Our shed and storage doors have also been upgraded, and when and where possible now, we have steel plating on the doors that we could put it on. And so while this may not stop someone from breaking in, the effort now required, even with modern tools, is a significant investment. And we're talking fairly thick steel plating. We shouldn't have to do this, but this is where we're at. Our interim solution here in the blue area is to install additional lights, stadium lighting like we have there, and then expand our CCT system to cover that gap. So this will add lighting to really basically make the entire yard as bright as possible, get our cameras on every corner of the yard, and connect to our existing electrical and network where feasible. How we're going to do that, we can do most of the work in-house. We'll have to buy some poles, but we can do our own trenching. We can install the poles. We can mount the poles. We'll just have to get an electrician and some cable management people in there just to finish off the touches. Now, for the amount of money we're looking for $25,000 total. That's $10,000 for lighting, $10,000 for security, and then a $5,000 contingency or a couple of other things that we would need to secure that yard. Our current balance in the capital building reserve is 1.2 million. We'd like to begin immediately to avoid frozen ground conditions, so we can do all our trenching. We don't run into a big frozen ground where we start running into issues or might need some bigger equipment that we may or may not have. We have looked at other considerations like lighting only, upgrading the fencing. As said, you know, the fencing is, we're still debating that, depending on how much we can get for the cost. Or there's increased patrols where we could hire a security officer or whatnot, or add more hours on to additional staff. But again, this is resource intensive and fairly costly versus the other, the proposal that we're asking for. So we're recommending the recommending council approve $25,000 so that we can put in lights and expand the CCT network. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Councillor Adams.
What are we looking at for added operational costs each year then with this?
So with this,
Ish.
it's very, I would say immaterial. I think we got two or three extra lights. That again, not a lot of extra electricity. As for the cameras, we're already paying for the system, so adding more cameras isn't going to make it any more costly. So it's just really the upfront fee on those cameras, and then we're just going to tie it into the regular system. So overall, I would, you know, maybe guess maybe $800 a year at the most in additional electricity.
Utilities. Yeah.
And versus what we're kind of currently facing here with continued break-ins. So we're
And
having
deductibles.
break-in and break-in and break-in and break-in, and we really need to get this. This has been an ongoing issue for quite a while, but it comes and goes. But we'd really like to start addressing this and getting that yard lit up to hopefully, you know, deter a little bit more people. So it's a lot brighter. And then again, if we can get the neighbors on board, further expand that area so there is no hiding spots, that when you are going to come break in our yard, that we have clear line of sight and we can see you coming from a mile away.
Councillor Adams.
Oh, I thought someone was ahead of me.
No.
Oh, all right. I move that council approve funding of $25,000 for the purchase and installation of lighting and cameras at the town shop yard to be funded from the capital building reserve with a current balance of $1,222,242.
Motion on the floor. Do we have any further discussion from council? As I see no requests on the request list, I will call to question those in favor. And that one is carried. Thanks, Roland.
Thank you.
Okay, let's roll to the CAO update.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We'll start off with our CAO update with the Finance Department. As just mentioned, the security and insurance, working through some of the claims for some of the recent break-ins and going through insurance to see replacements. Also looking at some mitigations, which you guys just approved. The Q3 return preparation is underway, and we're working well on we're well into our 2026 operating and capital budgets in all the departments, getting prepared to bring that forth to Roland to prepare for council. Also, the current system that we're using for these meetings is being phased out, and a new eScribe service is being phased in, and we're working on that implementation right now. In projects, some of the updates, the fiber line for the internet is being installed at the MRC. The project person has been working with all of the departments on their capital budget proposals for next year, and the benches have been installed along the Allery trails. Planning and development, so far there's been 13 development permits issued to Fournier Place. As of today, there potentially could be one more that we're expecting before summer. Did I mess up on something?
No.
Okay. Work has commenced on proposing short-term rental, on processing the short-term rental applications. In HR, we have one job currently out for a facility attendant that will be helping out at the MRC. And the external audit took place last week. We are waiting for the final numbers to come back once it's all prepared by the community that did it for us. Protective Services, the fire department, the first day of school in September, the fire department, the first week of school, sorry, they spent a lot of time in the school zones reminding people to slow down. The WUI team was up in Northwest Territories twice. They came back and went back up to pick up their equipment. A little bit earlier than expected on the update, but as of October 1st, there was 467 calls, down slightly from last year, trending down a little bit this year. Calls in September were 54, right about average for the month of September. Enforcement services, again, school zones, the first week was presence, warnings, and tickets as required. There's been some community engagement at the MRC, looking after some camps in different areas of town, and did a drive for the Orange Shirt Day. There was 18 complaints received through our complaint line in September that were dealt with as well. In community services, the annual pool shutdown was successful. It actually reopened 4 days earlier than expected. The Family Fun Night in Hilldeven Park was successful with 77 participants, and the Parade of Programs was very successful with 275 people attending. Hockey is in full swing at the MRC with games starting last weekend. Because of the ongoing teacher strike, the group put together some day camps, and they've been very well attended so far, with most days seeing full capacity, and Stage North is back up and held their first concert of the season. And finally, in operations again, working on the yard cleanup. We did have 5 break-ins in about 9 days. 3 of them at the shop over on just off 8th, and a couple over at the water lagoons across the highway. So they've been working on making repairs to the damage that was caused by that. The RCMP and our peace officer are also very involved in that. Working on sign maintenance for replacing folded and bent signs throughout town. And hydrant flushing has been ongoing. They're just the southeast left, and then that'll be done for the season. So that's the overview of the CAO update. If you have any questions.
Councillor Hughes?
Just a comment from me. I just wanted to commend the staff on being so quick to announce a strike day camp. I think that was really great that the town kind of was preparing in advance of that being a possibility, and that we sort of had an option for parents. I'm just really happy that it came together that quickly, and that it was out in the community, and I'm glad that it's being utilized during this time. So thanks to all of the staff for their efforts in that.
Councillor Adams?
Yeah, I'd like to echo that as well. That was actually surprised me. It was fantastic. I loved it. And same with getting done on the pool quick, nice and easy. It's good to see the fire calls down. Like, things are kind of trending nicely here. I'm happy for the effort that's been in the school zones, although I would still like to see more because it is crazy. But I do appreciate how much of an increase we've had in that, and the focus they put there. I appreciate that, and like to make a motion to accept for information.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion from council? All right, I will call to question those in favor, and that one is carried. Next up, our management task list, which is in very small print. Hold on a second. Offsite levy policy, that came back today. Naming, so that one's gone. Naming committee, we're
Yeah,
just
so
waiting on the
the-
postponed date.
The naming committee, we did have a date, and then due to a family illness, they've asked us to postpone. So as soon as we have that date again, that one we looked after.
Okay.
And as of today, everything else on there should be looked after.
It is empty.
Going into new council, we were, Councillor Adams, if you'd like to add anything before your.
He's gonna make 7 motions.
I do have the ability to shut the mic off now, so, congratulations, administration, on getting through the task list, and it was great to see that that is all cleared now. Councillor Gramlich?
I would like to make a motion then. I just make a motion to accept the management task list as information.
Everyone's racing to hit the button on the new system. Motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Call to question those in favor, and that one is carried. Okay, let's move into question period. Going once, going twice, and I'm moving right along. Committee minutes, MPC.
We approved 2 temporary camps in the industrial area. What a word to say today.
Fantastic. Next up, watershed.
This one's a long one. After the June 2025 AGM, Annual General Meeting, there are 13 filled board seats, 7 vacancies. The vacancies are an oil and gas member at large, East Prairie Métis Settlement, Sucker Creek First Nation, Driftpile First Nation, Sorage First Nation, and Capowino First Nations. Municipal election and committee selections may cause municipal directors to turn over. The LSWC board will participate in a strategic planning session in the new year. Water availability engagement was the following update for the water availability engagement was provided to the Alberta WPAC by AEPA staff on September 23rd, 2025. The purpose of the water availability engagement is to ensure Albertan communities, industries, farmers, and ranchers and other water users have the water they need while still supporting a healthy aquatic environment. Phase 1 of the engagement was October to January 2025. October 2024 to January 2025. Phase 2 was held as well, April 28th to June 30th. And we gathered feedback on all of that. This report is available online. LSWC has been hearing concerns about low lake levels as we move into the winter. The amount of water in the lake will permit flow, but the sedimentation at the mouth of the river may cause the lake channel to freeze at the bottom and cut off flow in the winter. I think that's it.
Next up is housing, which is me. Just a quick update on the wait list. We moved from at the end of May to the end of August. We moved from 60 on the wait list at the Housing Authority to 75. The senior self-contained in Vanderwell Lodge held steady at 24, which is the highest number that we've probably seen in, I want to say, the 4 years that I've been on there for senior self-contained. Usually it was anywhere from 0 to 5. And a lot of times it just carried forward if an individual wasn't ready to move in just yet and had their name on the list. We're obviously seeing 5 times that, which was to be expected based on all of the reports regarding the needs for seniors housing. Social and housing, there's an increase from 36 to 51 as some new applicants were received, although 15 will be allocated by the end of October. This should take us obviously back down and would be around the range of the 35, 36, which would be about standard for where we're at. And there will be a rent increase regarding our senior self-contained and Vanderwell Lodge of the 3.8% as recommended per inflation and the lodge costs. And that's about it for that. Next up, I've got the Tri-Council Health.
Yes, so another batch of international nurses are slated to hit the system here shortly. We are, fingers crossed, hoping to get one, but that is not confirmed at this time. The OR continues to be our biggest hurdle that local staff here are continuing to work on. Councillor Choba and myself will be touring around a new potential physician here at the end of October, looking to convince him and his family that Slave Lake is the place for him. So we'll be taking him on a tour of the town and kind of doing everything that we can to represent our community. 60 days is the time for a referral, or sorry, pardon me, 60 referrals a day right now is actually the normal in the clinic for whether it's specialty or for diagnostics. So I thought that was quite high and wanted to just highlight that. We are still short 3 nurse practitioners and 3 physicians short. What else here? We did receive another RPAP grant for our group for $1,000. This can be used to continue to hold annual appreciation events for the healthcare workers. There's talk of possible people from Tri-Council Health attending an RPAP conference that will be happening as well, and the potential of Slave Lake maybe hosting one in the future. We are welcome to throw our hats in the ring for that. As a board as well, we have talked about engaging with RPAP to have them do some professional training and some strategic planning for Tri-Council Health so that we can focus more on advocacy and doing things kind of within our local area that will hopefully have more of a positive impact. So a little bit more of a strategic focus there. And they can also provide us with some other professional training, which it sounds like the board would like to utilize here moving forward. Tourism. Yeah, that's me as well. So for tourism, we are hosting a fall operators meeting this coming Thursday at the hall in Fost from 6 to 8 p.m. We have invited tourism operators throughout the region to attend this session, and we will have our new Travel Alberta rep attend this meeting as well. He plans to share all the information about Travel Alberta's regional strategies currently, any grant and funding opportunities that they have, and essentially how we can better engage with upcoming programs and initiatives from them. Our group has been presented with a new logo and some rebranding concepts that will represent the new regional group. I hope that we will be making a decision on one of these here within the next month or so. We are also moving forward right now, working on application to fill out another NRED grant for some funds for the regionalization project, so that we are in line with following along with our 5-year plan for this. We are also partnering in hosting a tourism summit that will be happening in Grand Prairie this coming November. This will be a great opportunity to make connections within the industry and attend some workshops that will focus on tourism growth initiatives.
Councillor Choba.
Motion to accept the committee updates as information.
This is fantastic. Are you done though? Yeah, perfect. Good. No, everyone looked at me like weird. This is the first time we've actually had someone we not have to prompt for the motion to accept as information. It's great. Any further discussion? Call to question, those in favor, and that is carried. And with that, we will move on to our final state of the lake. Before I launch into my last rabble, is there anything from council? Councillor Choba.
2 things. On behalf of our town council and community, I'd like to take a moment to wish our Mayor Ward, a happy birthday. Your leadership, dedication, and vision continues to move Slave Lake forward. We are grateful for your commitment to this town, and we wish you happiness and continued success in the year ahead.
Thank you.
I will keep going. So before we close tonight, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Councillor Steve Adams as this marks his final council meeting. Councillor Steve, your dedication, insight, and steady presence has been a great asset to this council and to our community of Slave Lake. Your commitment to serving our residents and moving our town forward has been evident in every discussion, which some of them you showed quickly how passionate you are for the town, and in every decision you supported. On behalf of our council and our community, I want to sincerely thank you for your years of service and wish you all the best in the next chapter ahead for you, whatever that is. Thank you.
Councillor Hughes. You were.
Was I?
Councillor
Sorry.
Hughes.
I'm really bad at this, you guys. I'll get it. That was a very nice sentiment, Councillor Choba. I actually want to take a minute as well just to express my thanks, since this is the last meeting of this particular council as well. I did want to just say thank you to the administration and staff at the town of Slave Lake. We do really have some amazing, very talented people here who really care about the community. And it's been a pleasure to get to know everybody and work alongside them. And I look forward to the opportunity I have to do that again. And just to the current mayor and council, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for your leadership and support the last 4 years. We did have a challenging term in a few ways. We had some ups and downs, but it was great to work with you guys. And while we had differing opinions at times, we were able to be respectful and move forward with each other. And I find in the world of politics nowadays that seems to be more and more rare.
So I do really appreciate that that has happened with this group. And I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for a wonderful 4 years, and I look forward to the next 4.
Are you going to make a motion or do I have a?
No,
Okay, continue.
well, no.
I'm not ready for a motion, so if you would like to.
Okay. I just want to, I just thought this would sail out there and be done. And you guys would move on with the rest of the world. But I'll be honest with this council, it's been a definite experience. Thank you, Bash. Just wait, I'm getting there. Experience doesn't have to be bad. It's been good. Both from the debate that we've had, and much like Councillor Hughes has said, our ability to continue on and still treat each other respectfully. Or when we don't, we have enough respect for the other individual to say we were wrong and put apologies forward, as has happened a couple times in our 4 years. The questions and the hard questions that have been put to administration, both director level, staff level, and CAOs. You guys rose to the occasion. You didn't take offense all the time over my comments. And I do appreciate that. And I would just hope that the core unit you guys have something good here, and it's growing and it's showing both in just in the financial aspects of it, but also in how this town has been operated. And I'd like to say it's improved. So thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else before I conclude? Okay. I'll try not to be long-winded, but I generally am, so we can. As we sit together tonight for our final meeting as this council, I can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude and pride. These past 4 years have been some of the most challenging, rewarding, and defining years for our community, and for each of us who had the privilege to serve it. When I look back on this term, I see a group of people who showed up, even when it wasn't easy, and especially when it wasn't easy. We've navigated fires, floods, budget pressures, and the everyday realities of small town governance with determination and heart. We've disagreed at times, but we've never stopped caring about our residents, our community, and the future of Slave Lake. Together, we've made real progress, shovels in the ground on Highway 88 after more than a decade of advocacy, long-needed investments in our roads and infrastructure, improvements to our recreational spaces, stronger partnerships with the MD, Sarge First Nation, and our regional partners, as well as the development after more than a decade of Fournier Place. But more than the projects, I'm proud of the way we have led, with honesty, compassion, and courage. To my fellow councillors, thank you. Thank you for every hour, every meeting, every tough conversation, and every time you chose to do the hard work for the right reasons. For every time you answered the call of municipal service and spending of time with your family and friends and day jobs, thank you. You have represented this community with integrity and care, and I am truly honored to have served alongside each of you. Thank you as well for your patience as I learned to navigate the role of mayor after a short time on council. The learning curve was steep, and your guidance, support, and grace have meant more than you know. I'm immensely proud of our team. We have weathered COVID, adapted to the changing landscape of social media, and that's putting it politely, led a full municipal rebrand, advanced critical infrastructure, advocated tirelessly for Northern Alberta, supported our neighbors through wildfire evacuations, and of course, we survived our never-ending emails. To our administration and staff, thank you for your patience, professionalism, and the countless ways you supported this community behind the scenes. You are the steady hands that keep things running and the heart that keeps this town moving forward. As this term comes to a close, I hope each of us take a moment to feel proud of what we've accomplished, proud of how we've grown, and proud of the difference we've made. It's been one of the greatest honors of my life to serve as mayor and to share this journey with all of you. As we turn the page and look forward to the next chapter, I remain deeply committed to continuing the work we've started. Building on this foundation, advocating for our progress, and serving the people of Slave Lake with the same pride and passion that have guided us through this term. I look forward to the swearing in of our new council next Wednesday and optimistic for what the next term has in store for all of us and for the incredible community. On that note, here's to fewer emergency meetings, fewer group chats, and maybe some days where our phones don't buzz before the sunrise with a crisis. So thank you, council, for your service, your trust, and your friendship. And with that, Councillor Chopa. Councillor Adams, sorry, it just says A. It says A. It just says, hey, I'm
You've already
sorry.
written me off.
No.
I'm out.
We're fixing the system, Alex.
Nicely said, I must say. That's
Fixing the
good.
system.
Uh,
Counselor Adams,
Motion to adjourn.
thank you. Oh, Alex.
If I may, I know State of Lake is usually for council, but I'd like to, on behalf of administration and staff, thank the current council for everything over the last 4 years. I know it hasn't always been easy. I guess it's not unknown now, or as they may say, the cat is out of the bag. As I referenced earlier today, that 4 of you are continuing on, so we look forward to that. Councillor Adams, thank you for your time. And I just got to ask one more time, do you have any questions?
No questions. We're good.
Oh, that was beautiful. And with that, we have a motion from Counselor Adams on the floor. Do we have any further discussion? And I'll call to question those in favor. And that's carried.